All right, EA Ermor turned 64, and I have to say, I have kind of a bad feeling about this turn. I kind of forgot about Earthquake. So let's see. There's a battle in Agartha. Message from Agartha. Okay, so it looks like Russ did not attack us at all in Agartha, which is really good news. I was thinking like worst case scenario, Russ attacks us with everything, and then we try to storm and we get earthquaked. So let's take a look at this storm. Oh wait, hold on. This is Agartha attacking out. Okay, this could be bad. This is probably earthquake. um, so yeah, this is probably going to be bad. We're going to lose the communion in all likelihood. Or no, he's trying to super combatant us. Oh, thank heavens. So that does burn gems. And I don't know if we have enough gems. I definitely put extra gems on commanders, but it's very easy to mess that calculation up, and the mages they snort gems. So you really need to put a lot of gems to be sure, even with conservative gem usage. But the pretender was the main thing we were worried about. So I think we're going to be okay. Thank heavens that wasn't earthquake. Yeah, so this is our assault force. You can see it's significantly reduced, and there's a good amount of stuff in here. There could still be earthquake in here. Okay, no earth gems. Thank heavens. Yeah, I really think. I mean, earthquake would have hurt him too, but he can. His commanders are kind of tanky, right? His casters have more hit points, and they can put iron skin on themselves, and that's going to help a lot. Yeah, so of course, our guys with jars. Okay, we got flaming arrows off, so at least some of our battlefield-wide buffs. Yeah, and wailing winds. Okay, this is looking good. So I did put enough gems on everyone, and we get howl up as well. I think this is gonna go really well for us, because we can just sit back, right? And we're not really risking too much. So hang on, let me put on team-colored squares, because I think some of those fire elementals are his, possibly. Yeah, or no, these are the magma kids, and yeah, they're gonna do well against the skeletons. The fire elementals, it's kind of awkward, right, for both sides. One nice thing about fire elementals is they're ethereal, so they go right through walls, like all ethereal units. And he's got some of these cave grubs, which is probably more of a desperation summon. Totally understandable. They are really good siege strength, and they actually have this corrosive bite is kind of nasty. So maybe actually decent in a pinch. This corrosion can be kind of rough. I think it probably damages armor, not 100% on that. But they're not great fighters, and they have attack density problems. And so yeah, you can see there's routes happening, right? This is wailing winds, and that's the advantage of sitting back. And then of course we have the wolves back here. Not a lot of wolves, right? I think I might use Howl a little too much. I think when it's not in a forest, you don't actually get that many wolves. Although I do think in an assault, in this situation, keeping the casters busy is so nice. And yeah, I don't really think we're gonna lose too much here. I think this is exactly how I wanted this to go. And yeah, I think a much better way to assault than a lot of my previous assaults. A little bit of concern here. Okay, nice. Yeah, we get a Soul Slay, I think, there. And we do have a Lich on advance and cast spells. You do have to be careful about the battle timing out in this sort of assault. So I do think, having some casters on advance and cast spells, or some sort of really nasty, killing force that's going to come in a little later, after the, skeleton garbage and the fire elementals and everything. So that went about as well as can be expected. Let's take a look at what the casualties were. Yeah, so we lose a long dead and a few slingers. Yeah, that was perfect. We eat one of our vine ogres. so yeah, in a longer battle, we're definitely going to chew up the vine ogres for our skeleton production. But yeah, that worked out really well. Let's see if there's any other bad things. A lot of arrows from the sky. So let's see. This is quite lucky. We might be a Twist Fate amulet. Okay, so we lose an augur. That's fine. I think this is our army that he's targeting now, which is unfortunate. So we're definitely going to need to bring extras, right? Extra augurs. And another reason that it's good that we didn't put this army in a position where it's likely to have to fight a major battle this turn. And yeah, we'll probably have to return. This is also our army, so probably I don't know who this is, but they at least survived. And then we lose another augur, and then, yeah, we got discovered with our Mind Hunt attempt. But this is not so bad. Like, normally this is pretty rough and a reason that you don't want to Mind Hunt Astral. But we have healers, so I think it'll be okay. And then, of course, we have our remote attack spells. So I think that covers most of... Did we only have one Mind Hunt? No, we had another Mind Hunt earlier. Okay, nice. So that was successful. I don't know. I think this was the Thug. Hopefully this was the Thug, because that's a lot of gear to be losing. So we'll have to see. We are attacking that province this turn, so hopefully we should see. And then let's see here. All right, we had some assassinations. Our guy is being annoying on top of the fort. So this is at night. Let's see. Did we give this guy a bow? I can't remember. I don't think so. Oh, yeah, we did. Oh, no. He's set to attack, though. Gosh darn it. I guess he still has his poison dagger. Iron Skin is going to be a problem. Yeah, we don't love magma bolts. There we go. Now we're using our bow. That's good. I guess he just wanted to close the distance. So that works out, but was pretty scary. We pick up an affliction. It's just a limp, not a big deal. Probably need to change this guy's script, but yeah, that will no doubt annoy Russ. Right, and we're trying to assassinate the direwolf. I was thinking about mind hunting him, but then I realized, wait, I have a water bottle assassin in place, and I think this is going to go just fine. Yep. So water bottle assassins, right? That's the only kit that you really need. Anything above a water bottle, especially on a human assassin, is probably a waste of gems. But I mean, you guys have seen me waste gems. I don't mind wasting some gems. Yeah, it's good to try different things, I think. And then let's see. We have a few attacks. Okay, right. This is the army that's getting mind hunted, and this is the province that we just lost with the barbarian PD. He didn't really PD dump. Looks like either the thug moved out or it was the mind hunt that killed that thug. So we're going to take that, no problem. And then, yeah, what is this? Some sort of raid. Right, this is the Sacreds who are being led by the direwolf, who are now unled, but the PD commander, right, counts as leadership, so they're still going to fight, but they're not going to get blessed, which is a fairly big deal, but they're still really scary, even unblessed. Like, these guys are nasty, right? And it's another nice thing about larger, always active. So we're doing like body ethereal, probably some luck, and then we're going to make fire elementals. We're going to make one fire elemental. Oh boy. I don't know if that's going to be enough. Gladiators are solid, and these guys are not going to love the fire elemental with their lack of magic weapons. But they have a lot of hit points, and so we turn them into bears, and we set them on fire. We'll only summon them into bears, and you can see, when they get hits, nice flame eruption. I mean, we do still have a little communion here. And yeah, these guys are actually kind of fatigued out. That's the other thing. The fire elementals have fire auras. Fire tends to do a lot of fatigue damage as well if you don't have resistances. So these guys might fall asleep, especially since they're berserkers. And gladiators are really scary. Now, of course, that means that's a gladiator that's now going to disappear at the end of the combat. And there's an incinerate there. So yeah, that works out pretty well. Using 3 mages like this, always a little sad in terms of research loss. But, it worked out. And then there's a battle on Vanheim's capital, right? This is the Abyssian army, no doubt. Oh no, Abyssia is just pinging. Very nice. That is a wise idea. And there's no patrolling. You always feel a little foolish when it's dang, I could have just, jumped on top. But yeah, I absolutely approve of this kind of move because, yeah, this Vanheim player is pretty dangerous, so a bit of caution is probably the path of wisdom. And then we caught a battle between Ubar and Pelagia, right? The fire drakes march on, and I think they're going to do just fine against relatively minimal PD. This is kind of cool. Maybe a little too many fire drakes, some chaff in front of them, maybe some terracotta warriors. But yeah, this is cool stuff. I'll probably steal something like that. This explains a lot. So we got a message from Agartha. This is an AI message, right? So it looks like Agartha has set themselves to AI, which totally understandable, right? They're just down to their, capital, and they're locked in. So move on to other games or other things. And yeah, I had a lot of fun fighting Agartha. Learned a lot. I'll reflect more at the end of the game. But well fought Agartha, I would say. Certainly, I had a lot of painful moments. And then, yeah, this is us just pinging, right, to see if there's a PD dump. Not really. Right, this is a fort now, so he doesn't get the dog-headed fellows as part of his PD. So these guys are going to do a lot worse in the dark, so it doesn't really make sense to PD dump, actually. So that's good to know, but, still happy that things worked out the way they did, attacking into this. Like, yeah, we talked about that situation. And then we took control of, I think this is where we got raided with, like, a Cloud Trapeze fellow. So, we took that back. It looks like he didn't bother with PD. And then, of course, burden of time, old age plagues us. We are a fire nation. And then unexpected events, a lot of unexpected events. We get attacked twice by indies, it looks like. Oh, right. Okay, so this is the horror cult. I actually looked into this. It was too late. Like, the horror cult has already taken root, and I don't think there's really anything we can do about it. The other player didn't realize, or sometimes when land is changing hands, it's really easy to miss this stuff. So yeah, we're not so much going to be having this province very much. The horrors are going to have it, but it's not actually a very useful province. Like, we haven't finished site searching there, but there's no sites. Let's take a look. No, hang on. So we get attacked. Foreign agents have infiltrated. This just looks like some regular misfortune stuff. So we lose defense in the province, and then we get attacked by, I don't know, villains or something. Something pretty lame. I think we actually have kind of a PD dump here. Yeah, from earlier. Oh yeah, we have some. What? A centurion who's just retreating. Is that our only leadership? Uh-oh. Yeah, what happened here? Okay, well, we could have won this. But yeah, I mean, maybe our centurion, what happened to you? He took some heat fatigue, and that just, broke his morale, and he ran. F- centurion. This is the worst centurion ever. So we lose that. We certainly, should have collected these Dustwalkers earlier. Do any of them survive? All of them survive. That's cool, at least. So yeah, that's annoying. We're gonna have to retake that. And then Glade Woods. This will be the horror. Definitely not going to stop this bad boy. Let's see. Okay, yeah, Gortide, they're pretty nasty. The big thing is 50% regeneration on 62 hit points. Otherwise, they're not too bad. I mean, I think they have a disease aura or something. Yeah, they're a plague carrier. They're bad. They're definitely bad. So we can watch some, I think it was a bear tribe, get absolutely mulched. They like slime guys too. And, you can see they get what? I guess just one attack, but very killy. So anyway, yeah, horrors are going to be a thing there. We'll have to think about whether it's even worth it to recapture that. And then we had some other unexpected events. Hey, this one's good. So the rumors of plague were false. That's good because I forgot to do anything about that. And then there's more rumors of plague, but they're false, hopefully, right? No plague, please. And then, brigands, of course, always. This isn't a very useful province from money standpoint, so whatever. Brigands can hang out there. And then it looks like no one participated in the arena. Oh, wait, no, excuse me. Niflheim sent a werewolf in, a Scrotty, and he gets the golden sandals as a result. Probably, I don't know. It's not a good thing, but if nobody sends a champion, then actually everybody loses 1 strength of dominion, which would be kind of annoying right now, but I don't know. Everybody loses it, so it's a bit of a wash. And then, yeah, Agartha is eliminated and some other stuff. I'll see you guys after the cut. All right, so this is the situation and what we're doing about it. A couple of big things, really. So most embarrassingly, we're just going to be pulling this army back. We could move into this province, right? The plan was to move here and, maybe release raiders, but with the rate at which we're losing augurs, this communion is probably not viable anymore. I actually don't remember offhand. I usually try to build in a couple extra communion slaves because things happen. So you usually don't want to run your communions right at the ragged edge because then all it takes is one mage dying and the whole plan falls apart. But we've lost 3 or 4 to the arrows, and there's going to be another barrage of arrows. So we pretty much need to accept that when we do move on Russ, we're going to be losing a lot of commanders to seeking arrows, and we're just going to have to bring a lot of extra augurs. So we're just falling back for now. That is very sad. We are breaking out just our Lich, and then of course our assassin is going to sneak along with him. So, liches are totally capable of raiding. There is a danger that he'll be soul slayed, which is pretty much one of the only ways, maybe the only way, that you can lose immortals. And since Russ has Astral, that is on the table, but they don't have a ton of Astral, and since our army's here, he does have to respect the fact that the entire army could move here, so very unlikely that like just a Soulslake Communion shows up. Possibly one will get Cloud Trapezed in on top of him, assuming that our Lich succeeds moving through here and tries to raid deeper, but we'll see. That'll force out like cap-only mages probably, and just another thing that Russ has to deal with. And I forgot to mention, our ghouls were successful, so I'm probably just 6 PD. Like I said, it's just some random province. This might actually be a little bit more than 6, maybe not. Kind of a weaker PD type, so they do come away with it, although they do take a decent number of casualties. Yeah, so we're down to 25 ghouls. Can this take another province? Yeah, possibly. It depends on how much PD is dumped. I forgot there was a fort here, right? So this does cut down a little bit. We do want to go after the forest, but I feel like that's maybe a little predictable, and I'm going to sit on it for a turn, and I think I'm going to try to go for maybe both forests at once, so that he doesn't know that I know that forests are more useful for him. So we're just coming here. It's kind of random. It's difficult with this mountain pass and it being cold. Most of Russ's stuff does not have mountain survival, so they cannot move through mountain passes when it's cold like this. And of course he has cold dominion, so in his own territory mountain passes are pretty much going to be closed both to him and me, at least for our major forces. And I don't think there's anything here that has mountain survival. So he's not really going to be able to respond with like troop movement. So we'll see. Just looking to be annoying there. And then speaking of annoying, our assassin is going to do more assassinating. I fixed his script, so he's just set to fire now. I think this was an assassin that participated in a battle against Agartha's god, where I wanted him to move forward and get some shots in. So he had a single attack in his script previously, and he managed to pick up a lightless lantern, a research item, which normally doesn't matter too much for combat, but it does provide perfect dark vision, which is very nice because this guy doesn't actually have the fire hat, so he had no dark vision, but now he does. So that is excellent. He's going to keep assassinating. And then of course our scrying did find a fairly substantial troop concentration. I was saying about how this is all relatively undefended, but this is obviously a defense. There's not that much here. Like these Rusian wizards, yeah, I should actually get familiar with these guys. They're adept researchers. That's pretty cool. Fire, nature, not the strongest cross path, and they're only one. They do get a random path, so they could have some astral. That's cool, or they could be nature 2, or get some earth. Like, yeah, these guys aren't bad wizards, but they're not like that scary, as far as wizards go. They definitely look like they're more the researcher type. Now, I'm sure he has like a decent number of them in this fort, right? And in terms of troops, these Rusian warriors and the Chud warriors or Chud warriors, they're okay, but like nothing great. Like our legionaries would stack up, just fine against them. Maybe the Chuds would be a bit more difficult, but yeah, kind of really more of a garrison force. And then of course there is this fort down here. We don't know what's in it yet. We are doing some more raiding here, so we're going to take our group of mages that have their gladiator bodyguards, and we're going to send them in and combine them with some of our swarm guys, and we'll see. Like this is kind of a heavier raid, but there's a good chance that it fails. But considering we have our army over here, right? Like, yeah, now he needs to respond like in 2 places. So maybe this will be enough to overwhelm his response. If that doesn't work out, our pretender is bringing a troll king in, and then we're going to use those trolls in advance of our army. And like, we still very much want to go after his capital. I'm feeling better about this war now that we've taken Agartha, and we'll talk about what's going on in the south. But he has a substantial amount of stuff in his capital, and we definitely need more than what we have here. But we have more, so we're going to be bringing up our air death guy, right? He's going to be very useful. Yeah, here he is. Now he's twice born, so we're probably going to go try to suicide him in some raiding. So he'll be less susceptible. We don't want him to get hit with a seeking arrow like on the way in. So if he's a white mage, much more likely to survive that. But that will be a significant upgrade for this army. And then of course, we're recruiting more augurs down here. Yeah, and then a few more gladiators, and that's kind of really the other big thing is, we've done a decent amount of gladiator recruitment. Let's see, yeah, so we've got some gladiators here, right? And then we have a good amount of gladiators in the capital. Yeah, some other gladiators hanging out. We need more gladiators, definitely. We'll do like at least one more round of gladiator recruitment, but we're also bringing up a bunch of gladiators from here. And, the gladiators, I've talked about them, but I think they're going to do decently well against the skin shifters. Obviously, it's like single use only. And we do have to be careful about the gladiators like getting cheesed, on the way in, right? Like we're trying to eat like cloud trapezes and summons a bunch of bugs, and all our gladiators hit bugs, and then they're like, all right, job's done. Like, wait, no, we need you for the skin shifters. So, we have to be careful with that force, but, we pretty much, as long as we get it to connect with the skin shifters, we only need it the one time, right? Because the skin shifters are only coming out of the capital, and there's like a stack of them here, right, that we know about, and then there's the other stack of them, which, let's talk about that, right? So the other big stack, and his god probably like teleported or cloud trapezed in. So, that's important. Obviously, like this is going to be, a very powerful caster, and is going to be able to do things that like Russ normally wouldn't be able to do in that vein. This guy was going to come north to support, our push against the capital. But I'm still pretty worried about Earthquake, right? This is still going to be in a cave. And like, I don't think Russ normally has a lot of Earth, but it certainly could be on the Pretender. I'll double check the Bless and see if he does actually have Earth. But regardless, I think Mass Flight will help us, even aside from Earthquake, because we're going to have the numbers advantage, right? So the faster that we can, surround his skin shifters, the better. We would rather our chaff fight it. So, I mean, there's definitely downsides to doing Mass Flight, but Earthquake is dangerous enough, especially in these caves, that I think that's worthwhile, and we're going to be waiting here one turn anyway. And of course, I've been talking about like the need for speed, right? And the game is starting to come to the end point, and like here I am, just hanging out again, which is not ideal, definitely, but I do think it's warranted in this case. For starters, Agartha was eliminated, right? So like all this area used to have, well, not this, used to have Agartha Dominion, and now has no Dominion. And like, Niflheim is not that far away. Like, we really want our Dominion to get in here. Like, we kind of need our Dominion in here, right? Especially like this area is cut off. It's kind of unfortunate. Like, Abyssia's Pretender is still here, and like we're actually just down to one candle here in this province. We used to have a lot more candles, so we're kind of losing ground in the Dominion, situation. It's not critical yet, but there's a lot of late game spells where it's very bad if you have enemy Dominion in your own territory. So to that end, we are profiting. We don't have a profit right now since we lost our last guy in the woods. I forget how we lost him. But anyway, we're creating a profit here, so that's going to create additional Dominion push in this very juicy area that has no Dominion in it. And then we're using our priest to build a temple here, which will also push Dominion, which will be very important. And then while we're doing those things, this is where our gladiator recruitment is happening. So we're going to recruit a stack of gladiators here, for the same reason that we want them in the north. And then we're also going to summon in a bunch of stuff. So we can summon in fire snakes, which are decent. The main benefit is that they need fire gems, and we have a lot of fire gems. But they're not bad by any stretch. They have a good amount of hit points. Their attack, fairly high damage. They deal poison damage. They deal fire damage. All stuff that, Russ isn't going to love. Doesn't really have that on the Bless. He has been casting poison resistance on his guys, but it's a fairly strong poison from what I remember. And like, they radiate heat. Like, they're pretty good. They're undisciplined, but it's kind of fine, right? It's like we just need something to tangle like with his skin shifters while all of our mages and everything do their thing. And we already outnumber him, and now we're going to outnumber him even more. And then to that end of outnumbering even more, we're going to bring in some Pale Riders. Those are the long dead horsemen. And we will probably use these just like purely as harassment. We'll have them in like a sparse line all the way out in front, and then set them to attack rear, right? And, they're going to get eliminated. They're kind of single use only, but they're going to help prevent our army from getting cheesed, right? So it's like if he just teleports in or cloud trapezes in some small group of thugs to do some, nasty wipe spell that's going to cause us problems, they're not going to have much time before they have a bunch of long dead horsemen in their face. And then conversely, in a major battle, anything that he has on his side that's squishy and like relatively unprotected, there's a fair chance that he's going to meet his end from a long dead horseman's lance. And it'll keep all of his casters busy, and it'll help spread out like his skin shifters and cause problems. So he'll get hit with the long dead horseman, then come the fire snakes, right? We've got our mages like doing soul slay and things like that, and then we're creating all of our garbage and our fire elementals, and then come our sacred horsemen and our infantry, are throwing javelins that are on fire, and the slingers are slinging also on fire. So yeah, I have good feelings about this. I mean, we'll see. His god is a wild card, but other than that, I feel like this is going to help a lot and help reduce our casualties too, right? Because if we wipe this army out, like I said, I think it's relatively unprotected and we'll be able to move quickly, which could be important. I don't remember if Ulm had this province, but there is a chance that Ulm is starting to move in on Russ. Maybe not. Like I said, I did talk with Femoria, and he said that they were still at war, but that it had kind of slowed down a little. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And then, speaking of, allies and wars and other people's wars, we we missed whatever happened to Abyssea. So, we saw him ping, and I was very positive about that, because I knew that this Vanheim player was pretty good, and I feared for Abyssea's life. Well, this is Vanheim's god here, and I'm pretty sure this is where Abyssea's stack was. It's gone now, so there's probably actually like a stack of elves here that we can't see. So I don't think that went well for Abyssea. Also, this is not there's not as much Abyssea anymore. There's a lot of Vanheim, so Vanheim was clearly building up to this moment, and it's just kind of the thing of the elves. Now, I mean, the good news is that I feel like fire nations can counter raid decently well against the elves. Does depend somewhat on Vanheim's bless, and we're late enough in the game that certainly you could have answers to fire. So we'll see how Abyssea does, but we probably also need to be ready to try to pick up things from Abyssea. I mean, we're certainly not going to attack Abyssea. We're still sending him his fire gems. I haven't talked to him yet after this, what I'm assuming is a fairly major loss. I know that, he was already a bit discouraged. So, if his plan is to fight back and fight back hard, we'll absolutely support that. Because, this Vanheim player is dangerous, and we really would prefer not to have a big old border with him. I think probably he'll look at Calum next. But, if we falter against Russ, absolutely he'll come in against us. But anyway, if Abyssea doesn't really want to fight, and requests that we come in, we're going to try to definitely at least pick up Arcocephali and a good amount of border territory. But it really depends on what Abyssea wants to do, and we may not really have the forces. We'll see. I'll put together some just slapdash raiding groups. And then speaking of slapdash raiding groups, we've got a few of those down here. We've got some terracotta warriors with our normal little augur communion with the fire elemental. I actually think that these terracotta warriors make pretty ideal bodyguards, right, since they have high fire resistance, and we're going to be doing fire things. So yeah. Definitely thinking in the future this might be good. It is a little hard for early age Ermor to bring them in, since you need fire and earth, to bring in these terracotta warriors or terracotta soldiers. We don't have that natively. We're using one of the throne mages to bring those in currently. But yeah, I do think that they're going to be useful, and yeah, very high hopes for this. This isn't too much stuff. Let's take that back from the independents. And then of course, we've talked some about this group, right? A little bit of swarm, just kind of our random grab bag. This might fail. And then of course the lizards are going in, right? So we couldn't quite get full bodyguards. This is one square. These guys are size 2, right? Yeah. So this is one full square. This isn't quite a full square, so that's a little sad, but it's not actually a very good province, that lizard province, so we can't recruit very many lizard auxiliaries in one turn. So similar kind of thing, except just with swarm rather than a fire elemental. So a little weaker. We're going to try to throw in some wooden warriors and advance in spells, which could be a little dangerous. These guys are, they're decent, and they'll be buffed up, but they're not great. And the nature astral is not the strongest evocation path. They can do some poison damage. So we'll see how this goes. But, high hopes. And we've got some gem reloads on the communion slaves here, so hopefully they'll be able to continue raiding. I was very tempted to just attack this province with this assassin, because there's the PD is very, very light. And we get 3 Vinemen, right? And we've got the black bow, and I was like, yeah, he might be able to do it, but it's just so much gear to be risking. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to hang out. Of course, the advantage is like now he's going to see these raids, and assuming the raids are successful, he has the opportunity to PD dump here, whereas he's very unlikely to PD dump this turn since like this isn't likely to be attacked. But it's fine. We'll just have this guy assassinate like any commanders that pop up there. And then otherwise, like, just forging. These legionaries got cut off. They can't actually get into this cave. And, here's our horror friend. And he's just going to hang out there and help guard our border, I think. Like, yeah, I don't think I really want to mess with this, at least not yet. And probably the only other interesting shift, we're not doing any mind hunting this turn. We don't really see any great targets and would like to use the astral pearls for other things. This is like maybe a waste of astral pearls. We're going to be forging a bunch of rabbit foot charms, which just gives twist fate to the commanders. And it's kind of, especially because we're an astral nation and it's an astral spell, so we can just use spells to put twist fate on ourselves, so it's kind of extra a waste. And like twist fate it's nice, right? The first attack gets canceled, successful attack, so it'll help save your life once. And that's it. So it's not the most powerful effect, but the nice thing about these is that they're active on the strategic map, right? So when we're getting slammed by arrows, these will help keep us alive. Now, I'm pretty sure it'll only activate once in a turn, right? And then it's used up. So if we get really unlucky and the same commander gets targeted twice by arrows, it's still possible that they'll die. But we'll put these like on our guys that are casting like the really important spells, and then we'll bring extra communion slaves, extra augurs, so that as they get wiped out, we'll still have enough for the major battle. But of course, these do cost astral pearls, and we just we're really low on those. There's a lot of things we could use them for. So I think putting like rabbit foot charms on my assassins, I definitely won't do that again as early age Ermor. I think they are a good assassin item, because assassination battles often come down to like that first hit is like so important. So if you can cancel the enemy's first hit, oftentimes that makes the difference. So I don't think it was like a bad choice. It's just that early age Ermor has so many uses for astral pearls, it's just not worth it to put it on an assassin. Right, and then of course the other thing, so I was being paranoid, I guess. Sarmatia did not attack, or maybe they were planning on attacking, but they got intercepted. So a bunch of trolls came in, and like I said, ghouls against trolls, it's definitely going to go in the trolls' favor, and it looks like that's what happened here. And then here's a big old stack. I was kind of worried that this is going to be for me, and I think it still is, right? Because there's he's got multiple of these stacks running around, but it looks like Sarmatia days are numbered, so we'll see what Sarmatia can do. But the Niflheim Juggernaut is rolling. Machaca in chat, we don't really see anything of Machaca, but I think they're getting attacked by Xibalba and Niflheim, and they are just saying that they are dying very, very fast. They're saying this is their first time in the late game. And that's a rough introduction. A 2v1 is always difficult. This Niflheim player I know is very good. I don't really know the Xibalba player, but anybody that can pilot Xibalba to the end game, I feel like has got to be at least decent. A lot of times I see the bats kind of get rushed early on and just fail. So Niflheim is busy for the moment, but it probably won't be busy for that much longer. Maybe like 10 turns, hopefully. Oh, right, and we're not making enough money, as usual. Like, I was really really confused for a second. So like we're cutting all kinds of like mage production like all over the place. And I mean, some of that's because we're popping out probably too many gladiators, and we're supporting like a lot of gladiators, and like we have this garrison down here which is maybe a little questionable. But the other thing, of course, is burden of time. So burden of time, while it hits your units and your commanders and is extremely annoying, worldwide population loss, like -2%, I think pretty much every turn. Now, slightly reduced, right, by growth scales. And, we do have growth scales. But yeah, basically the whole world is dying, and, we're getting less money as a result. So we're getting close to the phase of the game where money is no longer a thing that happens for people. So probably like another 10 or 20 turns and no more money. So yeah, I think that more or less covers turn 64.